Good afternoon and welcome everyone to Introduce Investor Days. My name is Jesper Birch Jensen. I work as an equity research analyst here at ABG. And with us today we have the CEO of Safeture, Magnus Holtmann.
Nice to meet you.
And CFO, Cainvé.
Hey, hi.
So with that said, please go ahead, Magnus.
Thank you. My name is Magnus Holtmann. I'm the CEO since 1 year for the company Safeture, previously known as GBS Production. So I'm here to tell a bit about where we are today and those strategy changes that we have done in the company going forward. But I will bring you back to what this company is all about. It started with Professor of Medicine Lars Lidgren and his first-hand experience during the SARS epidemic, actually. Now we're thinking about the COVID-19 situation. But during the SARS epidemic, he was the first foreigner in China on place sent there by the HWO to evaluate the situation. And he said, this situation cannot be solved without having the proper information being sent out to people, without the ability to communicate with lots of people, and thirdly, be able to locate where those people are. And that is very much true today. And based on this, he founded Safeture. And it's all about unifying employee communication, information, and location in one platform. So we're actually 10 years old. But before I will continue with the presentation of the company, I will show you a video that explains what we do.
Many companies still spend more on the safety of their buildings and equipment than on their most valuable assets, their employees. The Safeture platform is the best choice for companies that want to protect their employees from risks and act professionally when something happens. When an incident is detected, you are informed which of your employees are present in the area, and most importantly, if they are safe. The employee is immediately provided with the relevant information via the phone about what has happened and advised on how to act. Our team of analysts assesses all important events like terror attacks or influenza outbreaks around the clock and compiles reliable information about what has happened. The Safeture platform is the best choice for companies that want to protect their employees from risks and act professionally when something happens. And it can provide you with a wide selection of functions. Our travel module, for example, keeps your employees updated on their travel schedules and gives real-time updates of flight status, delays, all the way down to gate information. And on your end, you can locate, communicate to, and inform your employees wherever they are. Always updated, helping you to quickly take control of the situation and make informed decisions. In fact, we provide a big number of useful modules that can be easily integrated. Through world-leading technology and innovative solutions, we help companies to protect what matters most: their employees.
So, with that said, that is what this company is about. Today we work with more than 3,000 companies all over the world. We have users in more than 200 countries, and we work with every single segment or vertical in the market, from manufacturing companies to FMCG and services companies, and even governments. And why has so many companies chosen Safeture? Well, this is a trend that started a long time ago, and we call it the always out of office. And it's a great mobility trend that's been going on for a long time. And the mobility trend is about the globalization. Everything is globalized. The value chains are globalized. You have the the factories in other countries or offices or stores or warehouses. Increased mobility is also that those people that work in the company not only are located at one place, but they are at all the different facilities of any given company. Digitalization has made it possible to work with digital tools, helping to protect the most valuable assets, the employees. And of course, we are now at a knowledge-based economy. The knowledge-based economy has increased rapidly from 20% of a balance sheet just 20, 30 years ago to more than 70% today. That employees are more valuable than ever and will continue to be so. So that is the trend, and this has been extremely accelerated just the past couple of months thanks to the corona crisis that we have, the corona pandemic. Anyway, when me and Linda, when we were here the last time, we said that we are just newly recruited to the company, me as the CEO and Linda as the CFO. And we said that we have a couple of things that we wanted to accomplish the coming year. Now we're here, 9 months later, telling you a bit about what we have done. The first one is a bit about our positioning strategy. So many of these companies that we work with, blue chip companies all over the world, where our platform has been of very, very high individual relevance for frequent business travelers. And what we see is that, yes, it's really relevant to those, but also to all the employees, making sure that you could communicate with the employees, you can inform about the right information, and then you can locate them in an emergency or in a crisis. So being able to have that modularized based on the needs of a company, we're doing a strategy shift and a positioning shift over to corporate relevance and for all employees of the companies. And this has been going on now for 9 months, and a couple of months ago we had a very nice receipt that this strategy shift is working due to the fact that we signed on one of the biggest company in Germany and one of the biggest companies in the world, Siemens. And right now we're rolling it out to more than 50,000 employees in their organization. So what can we do with our technology? Well, it's pretty cool because it's a lot about data. When you can take the data of all the employees, where they have been, where they are, and also where they intend to go. Mix that with the location of facilities that they belong to, and also with the global alerting system that we have. And we saw that. So in the beginning of the corona pandemic, we found an opportunity to create something that was absolutely world unique and got us a lot of attention. And it's called the Safeture Corona Exposure Tracker. By combining this together with some sharp minds and creative thinking, we created the Corona Exposure Tracker. And what that did was we could make sure that the company's employees, wherever they have been, they were, or they were heading, we could match that together with outbreaks of the coronavirus and thereby giving extremely valuable information to companies all over the world. So they could decide who they should put in quarantine, what types of trips that should be cancelled, etc. We know that this helped prevent the outbreak of COVID-19 at many workplaces. But 4 weeks after we launched this product, we also saw that we had a fully fledged pandemic. So the product was, or the report was pretty much dead after 4 weeks. But then in April, we had the President of the United States, Donald Trump. He had a press conference that became quite infamous because it was about how you should use certain types of drinks and UV lamps and other things. But also said, we must open up for business. And yeah, we agree on that. We must open up for business.com. So we registered this site, and with the intel and the intelligence information that we have, we were able to create a platform available for everyone to go in and have all the data regarding quarantine rules and about flights and hotels and everything in one interface. And that will be enabling people to schedule their business trips or their family vacation. All of this has generated quite a lot of interest. So we see just for the past couple of months, we've had more than 2,500 press clippings all over the world, generated 500 million exposures or potential reach for our products. And this is a couple of them. The second one, scale up of the SaaS business. Well, this is the core. It's one thing that we're becoming more well-known out in the markets. Remember, we are still a pretty new brand out there, and we're doing a shift of our positioning. But if you look what we have conducted for the past months, it's been a massive work, because it was a company that considered itself being an IT company, delivering projects to customers. But nowadays, we are providing a software as a service platform that has the ability to scale indefinitely. We work a lot with our standardized offering and packaging in the company. So tighter package modules, no consultancy sold. And also decreasing the lead times, for example, through simplified sales agreements and others. The sales organization has tripled in the past 9 months. From a small team doing enterprise sales to a fully integrated sales and marketing team. And today we have 2 full software as a service sales teams in Northern and Central Western Europe. And in total there are 14, right, in the sales team. And we're continuing by adding more of the salespeople to the team, but also adding new markets. Today we work with partners all over the world, but we have on our roadmap to also establish new offices, for example, in the United States and Southeast Asia. Our partners, we have a very big partner network all over the world with assistance companies, security companies, insurance companies, and many others. And we have started a partner program for them to help educate them and certify them, so make sure that they're selling the right stuff. For marketing, marketing is a lot about our knowledge, the knowledge that we have shared on a case-by-case, provider to customer. But we also know that we have something that is absolutely unique. The data we have in our databases and all the knowledge we have accumulated. We have started working much more with helping whoever wants it to take part of this knowledge, and thereby increasing the possibilities for us to get noticed and being acknowledged as a leader within this field. We have a very clear funneling on what we do. Those projects I showed you before with the Corona Exposure Tracker and Open Up for Business. That is part of the funneling we do. Building awareness for companies all over the world, and then having marketing qualifying them until they are ready to be sold to. So having market qualified leads to the sales teams. The development. Since long we know that we have some of the best developers in the world, and the platform we have built has been acknowledged as the best platform out there. It is quite outstanding. Even though we haven't been that well known, we still know that continue to building on the development to continue to be leading this market. Organization. I will not go into details. That is pretty much what we do every day at the office, right, Linda? And then the data we are working with. There are a couple of things that we have not introduced in the company, such as automated billing, a billing platform, and doing more of self-service and online sales. That is one of the next projects that we are gonna start working here going forward. Customer development. As mentioned, we have 3,300 customers roughly. Many of those customers, very big and well-renowned customers, but many of them have very few users. And we believe that going from few users to each company to actually have them being aware that every employee should have part of the Safeture platform. That is a big work. That is a big task that is ahead of us. And having a very clearly defined customer development is one way of doing this. And we're working really hard with this, to having more intuitive in the platform for the customers to decide to add more licenses, to add more modules, etc. But we also have a customer development team working with the customer, taking a customer from one level to the next, being there that they feel that they are solving real issues for their employees, because we can be sure that we are in a world that is quite uncertain, and security is now top of mind in many companies. And that means that having technology tools facilitating for them is just a given. It is something that every company must have. It becomes part of a compliance. We actually believe that whenever there is a big event, a major event happening in the world, whether it's a 9/11 or a financial crisis or a Cambridge Analytica scandal or whatever it might be. Now we are in a corona pandemic, and governments all over the world are now looking into whether they need to put legislation in place. We believe that the field we are working in is something that needs to be acknowledged as something that all companies need to have a policy for. And once again stresses how important and interesting our position is in this marketplace. So with that said, I will hand over to my CFO, Linda.
Thank you, Magnus. It's great to be here, present the CFO perspective of Safeture. When I joined Safeture a year ago, I started to read a lot about the typical metrics that is very relevant and very common in the SaaS industry. And the number one that pops up everywhere is the recurring revenue. And at first, when I read about the recurring revenue that will be there every quarter when I start day one in a quarter, I saw the possibilities of predicting the revenues and also predicting the cash flow as my first priority. But then after studying this phenomenon, it's also very clear that the biggest benefit of the recurring revenue is not really being able to plan them, but the effect that it has on the return on investment on the sales and marketing organization. Every penny that we invest in sales and marketing today is invested in actually increasing the recurring revenue for the next quarter. And the yellow curve that we see here is the development of the annual recurring revenue for Safeture from the beginning of 2018 up until second quarter this year. It's quite impressive growth. It's a growth of 47% year on year for the last 4 quarters that we have here, if we compare it to the same quarter previous year. What's also interesting to notice that we have a very high percentage of recurring revenues in the company, which means that most of our efforts in the sales team is actually focused on signing deals that will increase our recurring revenues going forward. The second aspect I noticed when joining the company was that how well invested our platform is. It's well invested from a scalability point of view. They have designed the platform in a way that it's very easy to add on a high number of users. And Siemens, I think, is a very good example of that, where we can add on many thousands of new licensees in a very short period of time. And it's also well invested from the point of view where every new user that we add on to our platform is not generating a high cost. It's very cheap for us to add on users, which means that as our growth journey continues, the gross margin in the company will continue to rise to quite impressive levels going forward. Also, when we look at the order stock, it's a very clear trend, and it's a very clear shift beginning of this year that things are starting to happen in the company. It's about this time, beginning of this year, where we started to move focus from selling to a few, a limited number of travelers in the company, and instead trying to target as many, actually all employees in the client companies. And we can see as an effect that we are getting much higher attention on a corporate levels when reaching out to the client companies. We can also see that the number of RFPs that are coming in is increasing. We get loads and loads more requests for RFPs and RFQs. And we can also see that each individual RFP, RFQ has a greater value. And it's very clear that if you look at the order value trend, the green bar is actual orders signed per quarter. And then the yellow is the weighted pipeline going forward. With that said, for those of you who has read the financial reports, we are continuously operating at a loss, and that is due to the fact that we are investing a lot in sales and marketing resources primarily, and we have the intention to continue doing so going forward to really emphasize the sales journey that we've started.
And also, before, I think that time's up, and we'll finish with one slide. When we were here the last time, we said that our financial targets for 2022, they remain the same, even though we have seen a massive intake of new prospects and clients. But we also see that we are at more uncertain times, longer lead times, for example, and maybe some smaller budgets at some times, and a bit of churn the last quarter. We still believe that we will have a 10 million SEK MRR, monthly recurring revenue, and have a revenue of 100 million in 2022 with a 90% gross margin and a profit at 20%. With that said, I will invite you to ask some questions to us.
Thank you, Magnus and Linda. Just a couple of questions from my part. To start off, you mentioned that the churn was a little bit higher in the second quarter this year than usual. Some of our clients were facing insolvency risks, and I was just wondering how has this developed during July and August? Have you seen a shift in the trend, or can you explain that a bit further?
Yeah, I actually wanted to emphasize before as well that the churn has been historically very low, between 1 to 3% per quarter, and now in Q2 it was up to 8%. And it was due to the fact that we have written down a couple of customer receivables where we do see an insolvency risk. But looking at this quarter, we don't see any signs of churn at all. So we did make a big retake in Q2, evaluated all the customers to see if there were any customers at risk, and those customers we've written down to be on the cautious side. So no, we don't expect any churn in Q3. Hopefully it was a one-off quarter.
And just in terms of COVID-19, you mentioned that you gained a lot of exposure due to your Corona tracker and Open for Business website.
Yeah.
Have this media exposure translated to more incoming orders?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the last count was a bit more than 400 new test pilots, different companies that have signed up for the service. If we take the Open Up for Business, we made available for anybody to actually embed the map, the Open Up for Business map on their website or the intranet and so on. And that is companies all over the world, and several really big blue chip companies that today turn to this map to actually get the information in order for them to make business trips. Today that is a free service, but we also see that our marketing skills will generate some good business out of that. And it's already seen several orders coming in.
And now with your expanded sales department, do you have the capacity to handling the incoming?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe there are longer lead times now. Even if you have a test pilot and it runs for 30 days, it still takes time because it's harder to get those meetings and get the right people, the decision makers, and also that companies, they have a bit lesser budgets, to be honest. So we see a longer lead times, but a much higher interest. But that is something that is good for the future by broadening the funnel. Another thing that could be worth mentioning is that several of these customers actually originate from the US, and that is something that's pretty new to us. And we see lots of very cool stuff that I will tell more about here the coming quarters.
Just a final question. Another driver of demand for your product could be legislators actually requiring companies to keep better track of their employees. Have you seen any developments there following COVID-19 in terms of legislation?
There's been a very strong duty of care trend for the past couple of years. So you have seen in some markets like the UK and France where they actually have done legislation regarding the responsibility of employers. I think that right now there is lots of talk going on. It could be among the unions, or it could be on the employer side, or even in the government. So we do believe that there will be these shifts. There are these trends, and someone needs to address them because there will be lots of risk otherwise. And we see it already, especially in these days with COVID-19.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have. Thank you, Magnus and Linda, for
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.